Hello everyone, my name is Nikki and welcome to my bullet journal spread for the month of April. I have some very exciting things to share with you guys and I've had a lot of fun creating this month's spread. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. This month's spread is inspired by staying at home and being in isolation. There are a lot of things that are happening right now all over the world and across my country in particular. So this is a bit of my take on it, but also some drawing to take my mind off things. I'll be discussing some little thoughts that have crossed my mind during this period and also just having a general calm chat so I can take your mind off some things and we can all sit, chill and vibe together. Since the government has advised that we need to stay at home for 3 weeks in my country and not leave the house unless it is for very necessary groceries or one allocated form of exercise per day, it is quite an interesting period, I can say, or to say the least. We have to be locked in our homes and of course it is a huge period of adaptation and there are a lot of changes. So those are some things that I will be discussing, but for now, the main theme, I'm going to be drawing a lot of houses, a lot of windows and themes that come to mind when I think of this little isolation period, being on lockdown and having to stay indoors while I am going to be spreading the messages. I know a lot of people come online to get away from these things, so I'm going to be taking a slightly different approach. It's not going to be bombarding you with all of the stuff to do with the current events recently, but rather something chill, and I hope that you guys can all enjoy. Of course, right now the streets are always so empty, and it is a good thing to social distance and make sure that you are isolated and not in contact with other people. And especially for those who are key workers and do have to go out, go work their jobs, I am so proud of you and want to say a big thank you, because without you, we won't be able to function, and it is high risk, but very proud of you and want to say that. And hey, even though we are stuck at home, things like college, things like school, they're all still going on and we're moving to try different methods. So all of my classwork right now is set online and it means a whole new routine and a whole new schedule, but also with that it means a whole load of free time so I can do more with my day, and that's very interesting. So I have planned quite a lot of artistic videos and artistic projects which I have been meaning to do for so long but haven't actually been able to get around to doing because of time issues, or like the time I come home, the time I need to get other things done, prioritizing schoolwork. But now I can get all of my work done by midday and have the rest of the day to myself, which is absolutely great. And I think this period has been one of such intense adaptations in terms of routines, and for me, I cannot function without a steady routine, so it has been a little bit difficult to sort of get back into that and try and find my little happy medium, but I think I have it sorted right now. But anyway, you guys do comment down below your thoughts, anything that's on your mind recently. Let's create a really nice positive discussion down in the comments. Talk about your routines, anything that's on your mind recently, and then we can all chat because I do read all the comments and love to engage with you guys. While at the moment I do want to start engaging in a lot more artistic projects, not only because I have more time available to me right now, but also since we're indoors all day, we don't really have the luxury of being able to go out and do things with our friends and family, and often it's sometimes just us or we may feel bored. It is very important to not only look after your physical health but also look after your mental health, and drawing for me is a brilliant stress reliever and it's something that makes me feel happy and makes me feel calm. So I wanted to take the time to do this bullet journal spread, and I find oftentimes I sometimes get a little bit of artist block or creator block, whatever you might want to call it on YouTube, and often with bullet journals sometimes it is a little bit difficult to film them, but I felt because this was so topical and because this is very much in my style, it was so easy to draw and I just felt myself feeling happy while I was doing it, and the pen, the way it flowed on the page, it was absolutely brilliant. And with that theme of like being able to do art or do these things, I also realized that right now when we are not in, we don't have the ability to actually go out and buy resources. So I wanted to do something again that, while it's speaking from my heart, doing a bullet journal that I do every month, it could also be inspiration for you guys, because really I'm only using 3 different types of pens in different sizes, of course, but technically you could use just one black pen to do this with some paper, and it is completely possible, and I want to talk about that. Of course, if you're familiar with my standard layout of bullet journal, I have my introduction page to welcome the month, and then following that I have another page with a calendar calendar, and then a section for goals and a section for tasks to do. I like to set myself 5 goals to complete every month, and then the tasks is basically like a main to-do list of things I need to make sure I get done throughout the month. And I have that all around the calendar so I can mark out certain days if there are any events, birthdays, but unfortunately since we're going to be at home a lot, there aren't many big events coming up, and it's a little bit sad, but then again, tasks being productive. Again, with the pens, I believe it was 0.2 millimeters and 0.1 millimeters, and these are Unipen fine liners. Predominantly, I use black. However, I did use a touch of light gray and dark gray, but mostly for this bullet journal, I used black pen in 2 different sizes, but to be honest, I would have been perfectly fine with just using a 0.2 millimeter fine liner. While I was drawing these houses, I was inspired by some French style houses on this page and also some more British style on the first page, but I tried to tie in elements of both into these houses and really create something cohesive throughout. While also drawing them, I played around with different types of windows, different types of architecture, and that was something that I really enjoyed. But also it made me think of how many windows are there here, how many buildings would there actually be, how many homes, how many people would live in here, and each window would tell a different story or have a different family living there, a different person, and then through that everybody would be going through something different. And it just means that in the expanses of all of these cities and all of these streets there are hundreds and hundreds of lives that are all experiencing something different, and it may be good, maybe bad, but the one thing to keep in mind is that we are all united in this thing and we're all going through it together. So no matter what, we're all there for each other at the same time. While sometimes people can feel alone or can feel like we're going through something that nobody else can really relate to, and we may feel alone, when you look at the bigger picture, and we all know that no matter what, there are going to be so many other people that can actually feel the same way as us, and though we may not see it, we're all going through the same thing. So that's why I also want to be able to create these videos and offer a platform and a safe space for you guys to talk, for you guys to interact with. And I know for me, during times when I've been going through a difficult moment, that YouTube has been one of the greatest getaways and one of the greatest ways for me to escape and feel happy. So all of my life and all of my career on YouTube, I've just wanted to make people happy, give people something to look forward to or a distraction, and being able to create not only is a wonderful outlet for me, but I know it's also a brilliant outlet for so many other people. That's why I want to continue to create, continue to share happiness, positivity, give some sort of good message and be there for people. So no matter what you're going through, though it may not be obvious to everyone, just know that I'm here and so many other people are here for you. You can see in this double page spread here, I have my water tracker on the right hand side and my mood tracker on the left. I wanted to do something different, but yet again simplistic, so I decided to go with all these different windows and these different designs. And the idea is I'll use a Tombow brush pen and just color them in a different shade of grey, the lighter the happier, and just color in the window depending on my mood for that day. So I'll then number them 1 through to 30, and I try to make the majority of them simplistic. A few of them I added extra detail, though around 5 or so, and that just made a few stand out more than others. But then again, it was something fun to do that was quite artistic and I loved the way it looked. Then of course on the water tracking page, I went with something simplistic again. I am terrible at drinking water, but I have noticed that recently within this week of isolation, I have been drinking and eating so much more than usual, which is a big step for me. So I tried to add this little water tracker so I can make sure I'm getting as close to those 8 cups of water a day. And then I am also stamping the words mood and water at the top of the pages, and a little reminder to wash your hands because personal hygiene is good, but also we don't want to spread any germs, any bacteria. We don't want any of that. To finish off, I labeled the boxes 1 through to 30, so 1 row for every day, and then we move on to the next page. Don't forget that you guys can vote for next month's theme by clicking or tapping on the eye in the top right hand corner of this video. There will be a little selection of different themes I've suggested to you guys, so you guys can vote for which one you would like to see the most. Now see, this is where my bullet journal layout tends to differ a little bit, and that is of course predominantly due to this whole lockdown situation. Normally I would have a little expenses tracker, then I would have a YouTube planner, and then I would have stuff like homework and revision. But because the whole school situation has changed, the whole lockdown situation has changed, my work is now closed, so I'm not attending work anymore. We aren't fully sure about what's going to happen with payments, and then YouTube tracker and everything, I'm just using a little spreadsheet that I have on my desktop instead, so that's working quite well for me at the minute. And I decided to make this minimal and make a double page spread for my classwork, because I don't really have homework and revision anymore and then separate classwork which I do in class. It's all given to me online, and I have deadlines to have that due, and sometimes the deadlines are 1 week and we're just given a set amount, which is very different to what I'm used to. So I'm basically using this to track my schoolwork and make sure I can have all of the work that I'm set listed and written down here, because if I do not write it down, I will forget to check, and I will probably forget until last minute, which guilty. I am guilty of doing that. I will say I am human. I make mistakes. It's my own fault, but I need to make sure I'm organized in the best possible way. And of course, we're completely new to this. This is the first week, still getting used to it and figuring out what works best. So on the left, I have a section for my classwork, and on the right I have a to-do section. So this is just stuff like things around the house. This is stuff like just general errands and things that I have to do. A general to-do list, nothing much else that I can say. I tried to make this quite minimalistic, so I did a big window in the center of a page, and then I drew this girl standing to the side as if she is just looking and gazing out of the window out onto the streets and getting a little bit of fresh air, but then again, stay indoors, stay at home. She's looking at the window, and the window, it is supposed to be like a little place where I can write down all of the information, just like my normal grid would be, but slightly off-centered. And minimalistic, but then again, decorative and doing something with a page. And now, of course, we move towards the final pages in my bullet journal for this month. And here we have a things to do in quarantine section. So my idea was to write 10 things that I would be doing in quarantine, just to keep myself busy, to set myself some goals while I will be at home and I have a little bit of extra time on my hands. And on the following page, I just have a really pretty, simplistic and minimalistic drawing of a window with some curtains. Again, on the outside, I was about to quote some, gosh, what's it called? Waving Through a Window, Ben Platt. Well, what's the musical? I forgot it. It's, I was about to accidentally make a Dear Evan Hansen quote, but what I meant to say was, this is from the perspective of someone inside looking out. And this person is looking out at the world and just imagining and thinking, getting that little bit of sunlight through the window. And it's a little perspective to say, you know, stay indoors, chill. It's all gonna be fine in the end. I thought that this was a nice minimalistic tie-in from looking at the houses and then going into the windows. It's a nice little progression, and I like to tell stories throughout my bullet journal spreads. So you guys can look at all the drawings throughout these and think of your interpretation. How do you interpret this little progression, and what comes to your mind? For the things to do in quarantine, this is my challenge for you guys. I want your help, and ideally I want to have 10 points that I want to write on this page. Tell me what you will be doing in quarantine and inspire me and inspire the others around you, and share with everyone in the comments down below some ideas of things to do in quarantine so we can inspire each other and keep ourselves busy and take care of our mental health. And then there we go, that's it for the bullet journal. So here's a little flick through. To begin, we have the introduction page to welcome in the month of April. Then we have the next page, which includes a calendar, a section for my goals, and some tasks to complete throughout the month. Following that, we then have my mood tracker full of windows and my water tracker, little reminder to also wash your hands. After that, we then have my little planning page for my classes and for my big to-do list for this month. Following that, we then have things to do in quarantine and a little reminder to stay in home with a cute minimalistic window. Don't forget, you guys can tell me or suggest things to do in quarantine. Then the supplies I used my journal and then some pens in black, dark grey and light grey, and some alphabet stamps. So that's it for the video, and I really do hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll receive notifications when I post a new video. And I will see you guys the next time. Bye!